How may I help you?
Buenos dias. Me llamo Nancy Drew. I have some paperwork for you regarding the loan of the Palenque monolith to Beach Hill.
So, you're Joanna Riggs' newest pirate in training. How does it feel to join the ranks with the modern-day conquistadors?
I beg your pardon, but how does a deputy curator become a pirate in your book?
You had better brush up on your history, young lady. When the Spanish explorers invaded Mexico, they became known as the conquistadors, or conquerors. They robbed the indigenous peoples of their wealth, not just their gold, but their artwork, their sacred objects. Anything they did not steal, they burned to the ground.
Do you blame Joanna and modern-day art collectors for something that happened long before they were born?
There is more. In the 19th century, archaeologists discovered the ruins of ancient civilizations predating even the Aztecs. Many of the dig sites were robbed, and the stolen artifacts were sold off to art museums and collectors around the world. Today, finally, it is illegal among most civilized nations to remove an artifact from its native country. But sadly, there are thousands of precious antiquities with highly questionable provenance floating around the Western world.
What do you mean by questionable provenance?
An artifact's provenance is the story of its origin and ownership. For example, how it made its way from a temple at Chichen Itza to a museum in Washington, D.C. If the artifact's provenance reveals that it has been stolen, then that artifact must be returned to the country of its origin.
So the problem has been remedied, hasn't it?
No, not at all. Provenance documents are often tampered with or forged to cover up the theft. Because of this, thefts continue and a great deal of art is moved on the black market, even today. Unethical art dealers and greedy museum curators do nothing to stop this.
And to you, these people are no better than pirates, is that right?
If Joanna Riggs or that overstuffed pillowhead Sinclair had any decency, they would take measures to see that all Maya artifacts were returned to Mexico at once where they belong.
Well, I think I'll have to chew on some of these issues for a while, Alejandro. In the meantime, I do need you to sign off on these changes to the loan agreement for the monolith. Do you mind?
I am still not happy that such a rare find will have its debut exhibition on American soil. But in my country, too, there are people for whom money talks. I will take those documents now. Thank you. I have some business with Joanna at the museum later, so I will return the contract to her then, after I have looked it over.
Are you sure? I don't mind waiting.
You may consider your mission accomplished.
Well, okay then.
Goodbye. Buenos dias.
Why did Mexico choose to lend the monolith to Beach Hill and not some other museum?
Joanna Riggs outbid everyone. I had no idea a small museum like Beach Hill could afford such an expensive arrangement.
Do you consider Henrik a conquistador, along with Joanna Riggs and Sinclair?
Henrik is a student of my culture and my heritage, not trying to buy and sell it. We don't agree on everything, especially not baseball, but I have nothing against him.
I should get back to the museum.
Adios, Nancy.
It's about time! Oh, my fears are like maggots infesting my poor old carcass. Want a cookie? They're from Oaxaca.
No, thank you. You said Beach Hill is in jeopardy. I need to know why.
The art world is being ransacked, Nancy. Prudence Rutherford, a major patron of the arts, had her fire ruby necklace stolen from her villa in Topeka. 2 weeks later, A whole display case full of rare Maya artifacts was heisted from a museum in New Mexico.
Do you think there's a connection between the two thefts?
Who knows? I'm just telling you, this community, our friends and colleagues, my people are being systematically trounced by thugs. Who's to say Beach Hill won't be next? You've got to do something.
Doesn't Beach Hill have a security system in place?
The museum has a basic alarm system, but it's not exactly state-of-the-art. I've urged Joanna to approach the board about making some security upgrades, but she just keeps saying that the timing isn't right to ask for money.
I understand your concern, but what can I do to help?
We need your eagle eyes. We need your bat ears. We need you to sniff out the stink of trouble.
I'll do my best, but it sounds like what you really need is a new breed of police dog.
Don't play modest mouse with me.
Modest mouse? Most people call me Nosy Parker. But anyway, tell me something about the art business. Is that a contemporary painting?
You bet your socks it is. Would you believe I dug it up in my backyard?
Good thing you're not trying to make a living as a comedian. So, what about the painting?
How about that rubber shark? The artist's name is Poppy Dada. She's a teenager in South Dakota. The art world is going bananas over her stuff. I'll unload that one for some serious dinero.
Is Poppy Dada her real name?
I don't know.
Joanna says you performed an act of wizardry in helping Beach Hill acquire the Pakal carving.
Getting those provenance docs together was a pig and a half. Oh, they're on the up and up, I assure you. But to have been at the height of my career back before the crackdown, those were the days.
What crackdown?
Maybe sometime I'll tell you a sad story I call How Mexico Lost Its Sense of Humor. Not today, though, Nancy.
Alejandro says you're unethical, a modern-day conquistador, that you're robbing Mexico of its cultural history.
And I say Alejandro is the real bully of the playground, a lunch money extortionist who loves nothing more than to see the other boys and girls go hungry.
When you sell a piece of art, what kind of commission do you get?
Standard, 10%. It's no king's ransom, unless of course you sell something for $1 million. Too bad I'm not allowed to put that monolith on the market, huh?
I'd better get going.
Bye now.
Good thing Franklin gave me the museum key. Come in.
How are the tasks coming along?
Do you think Alejandro would go to extreme measures, like stealing, to reclaim Mexico's artifacts?
Who knows?
I've got work to do.
Carpe diem. Beach Hill's been hit. Sit tight, Nancy. The police are on their way.
I should talk to Joanna before I touch anything.
Someone has cooked up my worst nightmare and served it to me on a plate.
I'm sorry about the theft, Joanna. It must be a terrible loss for the museum.
That's the understatement of the year.
Did the police find any clues around the display case?
The police took some samples for the crime lab, but they couldn't promise any overnight results. So if you want to put your little magnifying glass up to the scene, it's fine with me.
What were their initial findings?
Who knows? Right now, my priority is to get a move on this insurance claim.
I've got work to do.
Go to it.
That looks right.
You have voicemail. Press 0 to retrieve messages. Press 9 for an outside line.
Nancy, hi. It's Franklin Rose. I'm calling because it's just... This theft is very bad news for the museum. You can't imagine the limb we went out on to acquire that Pakal carving. It's been one of the museum's main attractions. I don't want to take you away from your internship, but if you can do a little investigating, well, I think I speak for the whole board when I say we'd be very grateful. Give me a call when you have a chance. And Nancy, thanks.
To replay messages, press 0. Press 9 for an outside line.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, hello. Do you have any news?
Not really, but something tells me this case is going to get complicated.
Oh, Nancy, you zero in on a case like a heat-seeking missile, don't you? I feel so much better knowing you're going to follow up on every lead. I'll help in any way I can.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
I'd better check to see if I'm done with that. There, that looks like it's in order.
Come in. Need something?
Have you seen Henrik? I found a piece of paper inside the Pakal display case. It had some glyphs on it and a print of a red hand. I'm hoping he can give me a translation.
What am I, fish food? Henrik's not the only one around here who can read a glyph, you know.
Sorry, Joanna. I thought I was supposed to go to Henrik with all my glyph questions.
The police showed me the note. It said, "The magician suffers yellow death," whatever that means. Apparently, the thief just couldn't come up with the glyphs for "the curator suffers flaming purple disgrace."
I'm curious about the red handprint the thief left. Does it have any significance in Maya culture?
Afraid I can't help you there. What I want to know is what the hand was printed with. It's obviously not finger paint. Why don't you do a little analysis on it in the lab?
I haven't seen Henrik since the theft. Where do you think he could be?
Who knows?
Hello?
Hey, Bess, it's me, Nancy. What's new?
It's pouring rain. George and I are in the middle of a heated game of Go Fish, and I'm winning.
Don't believe a word she says, Nancy. Last hand, I made mincemeat out of her.
Anyway, we don't want to make you homesick. How's the internship going?
Everything was going great until someone broke into a display case and stole one of the museum's most valuable artifacts, a jade carving of King Pakal.
Who was King Pakal?
He's considered one of the great Maya rulers. He reigned at the height of the Maya civilization.
So what happened?
Well, apparently the civilization was never quite the same after he died.
No, silly, with the theft. What happened with the theft?
Who are your suspects?
Do you have any clues?
Easy, ladies. Let's just say that so far, I have more questions than I do answers. But don't worry, I'm on the case.
There goes your low-key internship.
Honestly, Nancy, it never will cease to amaze me how one girl can cross paths with so much trouble.
I don't know what to make of Alejandro Del Rio, the attaché to the Mexican consulate.
What's his connection to Beach Hill?
Right now, he's negotiating the monolith loan agreement between Mexico and the museum.
And what's your confusion? Something to do with dashing good looks, I hope.
Well, he is a little bit handsome, but he also seems very angry about all the Mexican antiquities his country has lost over the years.
How have they been lost?
They've been taken by explorers and archaeologists and smugglers. I guess the laws have only recently changed to protect Mexico's rights to its own antiquities.
Well, it sounds like he has a legitimate gripe.
Yes, but I got the feeling he would do just about anything to get an artifact returned to Mexico.
What do you mean, anything?
That's what I'm not sure of.
Well, let's hope he's just a big talker and not a bona fide vigilante.
Have you seen anything in the papers about Beach Hill getting the deal with Mexico to display the Palenque monolith?
The who?
The monolith. It's a giant block of stone recently excavated from a cave near Palenque in Mexico. Apparently it's a very big deal. They think it's 1,500 years old.
So, have you seen it? This, monolith?
Yeah, it's humongous. Must weigh a ton.
Like how big? As big as a refrigerator?
Maybe Bigfoot's refrigerator.
Sorry, Nancy, but how would a person tell this monolith apart from, say, some other big rock?
It's carved into it.
Glyphs?
Pictures that represent words or ideas, also known as logographs. Joanna says the glyphs might be a message from King Pakal.
What kind of message?
We don't know yet. Henrik Vanderheun, Beach Hill's epigrapher, is working on a translation. Ever since the theft, I haven't been able to find Henrik anywhere.
That's odd. Has anyone else seen him?
If they have, they sure aren't telling me.
Nancy, do you think he's the thief?
I can't imagine that.
Maybe he's just an accomplice. Maybe he loosened security somehow to make the thief's job easier.
It's possible, but Henrik seems to care so much about his work. Why would he want to hurt the museum?
Maybe he cares a little too much.
She's right, Nancy. I'd give him the 3rd degree if I were you. Whenever he shows up again, that is.
Somehow, Joanna has gotten the museum into some financial hot water.
How'd she do that?
Yeah, and how hot's the water?
It's all very vague. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, maybe she just overextended the budget a little in her effort to acquire the best artifacts for the museum, but
even if her intentions were good...
she may be feeling a little desperate to make some money back quickly.
Desperate enough to steal the Pakal carving, sell it on the black market, and collect the insurance on it too?
I know she loves the museum. Who knows what she'd do if she were afraid of losing her job.
She's a suspect.
Definitely a suspect.
Detective Drew, requesting hint, please.
You can't complete that pot if you don't have all the pieces.
Check inside the temple exhibit. Maybe you'll get lucky.
I'll talk to you later, ladies.
We're rooting for ya.
Yeah, you're doing great.